Chapter 46-50. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Until now, Duan Lingtian is still a little confused. Have absolutely no idea what's going on. Everything was so sudden. However, he also knows that since he has come to this world, whether he wants to leave this world and return to the world or a place outside the world, or he cannot go back, he must first understand this world and see where they have come. Square. Suddenly, Duan Lingtian discovered that a familiar aura suddenly emerged from Kier's body, which was the aura of the most powerful. Kier, are you breaking through? Duan Lingtian looked at Kier with a surprised look on his face. Kier also had a confused look on his face now, looking inside at the situation inside his body, and murmured, "It seems like a breakthrough. However, this situation seems to be different from what Huaner said." Huaner is the first among Duan Lingtian's wives to step into the realm of high-ranking gods and become the most powerful. Just now, I felt the power of the superior in my body boiling, and then the technique started to work on its own, and then I broke through. There was no guidance from the most powerful state, so it was a normal breakthrough. Speaking of this, Kier thought of something and said, "By the way, some of my insights on the way of the sword flashed through my mind just now. Could it be related to Kendo?" Kier is the second among Duan Lingtian's wives to fully master the 4 realms of heaven and earth, completely mastered the way of swordsmanship and reached the 1st level. Wow! But at this moment, another aura rose up, but it was Huaner not far away. An aura suddenly rose up on his body, and his whole temperament also changed a lot compared to before. "Huaner, you also made a breakthrough?" Duan Lingtian was stunned. Compared to Kier, Huaner's feelings were more profound. After all, she turned out to be the most powerful person. "Brother Tian, I feel like I have been exposed to this world for a long time. The swordsmanship that I just broke through to the 3rd level seems to be alive. Not in my mind interruption drill. After being accommodated again, the power in my body has also transformed from the 2nd level of the strongest to the 3rd level." After listening to Huaner's words, Duan Lingtian glanced at Li Fei and Feng Tianwuer to confirm that there was nothing strange about them. Finally, he looked at his parents. They also had no feeling. This world had not brought them cultivation for the improvement. It seems that it is indeed related to the way of swordsmanship. Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed and he said, "In this world, the power of laws does not exist. You cannot sense the power of laws here, let alone use it. When you get here, except for some things that you have mastered in the past, practical skills too in addition, only the 4 realms of heaven and earth can be used. Of course, the power within the body has not disappeared and is still available. Next, let's find a place nearby to stay, or see if we can meet anyone and get to know the world first." After hearing Duan Lingtian's words, several people nodded in agreement. Next, Duan Lingtian and his family traveled in the air. After several days of traveling, they finally saw a few figures. These figures were in a hurry, obviously on their way. A few. Duan Lingtian just stepped forward to block their way and wanted to ask, but saw that the other party's expressions changed. However, after realizing that Duan Lingtian had no ill intentions, they all avoided him and continued moving forward. Before Duan Lingtian came back to his senses, he saw another group of people coming from the distance, seemingly chasing something. But he was chasing after a few people who just passed by. Duan Lingtian frowned, but he didn't intend to catch up. There was obviously a grudge between the 2 groups. Before he understood the world, he didn't plan to get involved to avoid catastrophic disaster. However, the strength of these 2 groups is only average. The strongest one is comparable to the mid-level god. Of course, what we are talking about here is the power they control, which is comparable to the power of a mid-level god. Because the power of law does not exist in this world, and these people obviously do not master the 4 ways of heaven and earth, so their strength is definitely inferior to that of the intermediate gods from all realms, and even the places outside the realm, and they may not even be able to defeat the lower gods. Respect. Since we can see people here, I think there is a gathering place for humans nearby." Duan Lingtian returned to his family and continued moving forward with them. Really? 3 days later, Duan Lingtian and his party finally saw a city. The city was neither big nor small. It was adjacent to a continuous mountain range. There were many people going in and out, and it was quite lively. Duan Lingtian and his party approached. Except for Huaner, who habitually wore a veil, the other three women, as well as Li Ro, attracted a lot of people's attention, but it was just a quick glance, because in this world no shortage beauty. In their world, many women who were originally average-looking can change their appearance through some secret cultivation methods and look like whatever they want. Only the breath of the soul remains unchanged. Duan Lingtian had also discovered a long time ago that after coming to this world, the soul aura will overflow involuntarily, allowing people to sense it from a distance and confirm the identity of the other person. The language of this place. Soon, Duan Lingtian discovered that the language of this place was the same as the lingua franca of the 10,000 realms and the land beyond the boundary. If it weren't for the fact that there was no power of law here and the breath of the soul magically overflowed, he would have thought that he had returned, arrived the world, or the place beyond the bounds. After walking around the small town and confirming that the trading currencies of this world were divine stones and divine crystals, Duan Lingtian felt relieved. He had no shortage of these things. However, he soon discovered his Neji space disappeared. He naturally knew what this meant. It meant that all the things he had stored in the Neji were gone. Normally, this is a situation that occurs after the Neji self-destructs. Helpless, Duan Lingtian sighed secretly, and in the end he could only take the huge divine crystal necklace worn around his wife Li Fei's neck, remove the divine crystal from it, and prepare to exchange it for the divine stone in the small town for daily consumption. The reason why Li Fei wears this divine crystal is because the size of ordinary divine crystals is standard, and it is difficult to condense such a large piece. It is considered a rarity. Duan Lingtian knew that she likes shiny things, so he gave it to her. She made a necklace and wore it with her, so that she did not disappear with the disappearance of the ring's space. Now, they and their group can be said to be penniless. The weapons also disappeared with the disappearance of the Neji space. Such a big divine crystal? Duan Lingtian found a luxuriously decorated shop called Jinbao Pavilion, a few floors up, went to the shopkeeper, took out the divine crystal, and asked the other party how many divine stones he could exchange for it. Although he has inquired about the ratio of divine crystals to divine stones, that is only the ratio of ordinary divine crystals. His divine crystal is extraordinary. Call out, call out, call out. In order not to be deceived by the shopkeeper, Duan Lingtian deliberately displayed the 8th level of swordsmanship. The invisible sword energy surrounded him and disappeared after a moment. But even so, the treasure master of Zhenbao Pavilion was still shocked and couldn't help but exclaimed, "A powerful person who has entered the Tao." Chapter 46-51. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. A powerful person who has entered the Tao? This is the first time Duan Lingtian has heard such a title. It should be the name given to the beings who have mastered the 4 realms of heaven and earth in this world. Next, the attitude of the shopkeeper of Zhenbao Pavilion not only became much more humble, but also gave Duan Lingtian a very high exchange ratio. He even asked Duan Lingtian afterwards if there was anything he needed to help him with, as long as he could do whatever he could. Never refuse. The look he looked at Duan Lingtian was also full of awe, as if the powerful person who entered the Tao was some great big shot in his eyes. I really want to ask the shopkeeper something. Seeing that the store was not busy, Duan Lingtian asked the shopkeeper some questions and soon learned some things from the shopkeeper. This world is called Divine Land. Where he is now is in the Chuzhou in the Divine Land. This is a relatively remote city in Chuzhou called Anqing. There are 2 gangs, that is, 1 gang and 2 families. Zhenbao Pavilion is one of them, of a family industry. However, when he knew the cultivation realm of these 3 strongest cultivators, he didn't care at all. The strongest one has not yet entered the Tao. This is why the shopkeeper was shocked that he was a Taoist practitioner. I really didn't expect. In this world of gods and earth, the so-called Tao is not just 4 kinds of Tao, and there is no such thing as the Tao of weapons. Any kind of Tao of weapons is an independent Tao. After Duan Lingtian took his family to find an inn to stay, he sat around the yard with his wives and listened to Kier sighing. Now, After understanding this world, Kier is not as worried about the safety of his daughter Xiling and son Yintian. In this world, their strength is considered to be good, second only to Taoist practitioners. Yes, in the past, in our world, there were only 4 ways of heaven and earth, but in this world, there are 10,000 ways. Duan Lingtian nodded. The way of weapons, among the 10,000 ways, is only a combination of the way of hundreds of weapons. In this world, not only cannot the laws be sensed, but even the people here do not know the existence of the power of the laws. As for the law clone, I don't even know. Duan Lingtian asked the shopkeeper of Jinbao Pavilion if he knew a person named Yuluaha, but the shopkeeper didn't know. As for the way of living sacrifice, the other party also said that he had never heard of it, and frankly said that he was just a member of the lower class of the gods. Because of his business talent, he was valued by the family behind him. Otherwise, he could only serve tea and do some chores. I plan to visit the 3 major forces in Anqing tomorrow. I think the strongest of those forces should know more. Duan Lingtian said his plan. You just stay at the inn and take care of the safety of your father and mother. The 4 girls nodded in unison. Originally, this world was unfamiliar to them, and they still had a sense of crisis. Now that they have a preliminary understanding of this world, they finally feel a little more relaxed. Only, what Duan Lingtian didn't expect was that before the next day, in the evening, someone came to his door and claimed to be the head of the Yin family in Anqing. He'll go out and meet him. He was surrounded by women, and Duan Lingtian had no intention of greeting him in the guest room courtyard and going out to meet him. When he met the head of the Yin family, Duan Lingtian knew why he came to the door, because the person standing behind him was the shopkeeper who entertained him in Jinbao Pavilion today. Although this shopkeeper is from the bottom of the divine land, he still has some strength. Although he has not reached the level of the gods of the 10,000 worlds and outer worlds, he still has the cultivation level of an immortal. It should be because the spiritual energy of the divine land and the heaven and earth is abundant. Reason the aura of heaven and earth in this world is comparable to that of all realms, and the places outside the realm where the aura of heaven and earth are most abundant are no less generous. Sir, we meet again. The shopkeeper saluted Duan Lingtian respectfully. The middle-aged man standing in front of him also stared at Duan Lingtian with gleaming eyes, respectfully raised his hands and said, Yin Hu, the head of the Yin family in Anqing, has met your lord. Yin Hu is here to offer a treasure to you, sir. After finishing his words, Yin Hu took out something and handed it to Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian reached out and took it. After touching it for a while, he almost lost his temper and smiled, because this thing was a sword-shaped jade pendant, which contained a ray of swordsmanship that ordinary people could not detect, but Qi Peng could easily integrate his consciousness into it. This ray of swordsmanship is only left behind by the first level of swordsmanship. For those who have not yet understood the swordsmanship, it can serve as an introduction to the swordsmanship, or it can be used to understand the swordsmanship. Of course, it is unlikely to completely master the first level of swordsmanship. At best, you can master the rudimentary form of swordsmanship. This thing is of no use to me. Duan Lingtian casually returned it to Yin Hu. This thing was not only useless to him, but also of no use to his family members who had not yet entered the Tao. Even if he casually showed it to his family members for enlightenment, the swordsmanship is far greater than what is contained in this thing. The swordsmanship is rough and strong. Hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Yin Hu was stunned for a moment, and then his pupils shrank. Then, he asked in a trembling voice, My lord, are you a monk who has mastered the second-level swordsmanship? Only monks who have mastered the second level of swordsmanship and above will have no interest in what he sends out. Just take it as such. Duan Lingtian didn't intend to reveal too much, so he smiled lightly and returned the things to Yin Hu. After Yin Hu took back the things with trembling hands, he took a deep breath and looked at Duan Lingtian. Sir, I don't know. Can you help me and do the Yin family a favor? Afterwards, my Yin family will definitely be richly rewarded. After he finished speaking, Yin Hu actually gave back the divine crystal that Duan Lingtian had sent to the treasure pavilion today to exchange for the divine stone. The divine stones you exchanged for today, sir, should be regarded as the meeting gift that I, Yin Hu, gave you. Duan Lingtian did not reach out to take back the divine crystal. Instead, He smiled lightly and asked, "What do you want me to do for you? If it's just a small favor, it doesn't hurt to help." This man is the head of the Yin family, and he wants to know a lot of things. Do him a favor and get some benefits in terms of divine stones and divine crystals, and you can also ask him some more things he desperately wants to know. Of course, if it's a big favor or something too troublesome, he has no interest in helping the other party. As for what he wants and what he wants to know, he can definitely find someone else. "Sir, this is what happened." As Yin Hu spoke, Duan Lingtian also knew the whole story. It turned out that it was all caused by the sword-shaped jade pendant in Yin Hu's hand. The other two forces in Anqing knew about it, and they all want to get a piece of the pie. Otherwise, we need to join forces to deal with the Yin family's posture. Originally, Yin Hu planned to give the things to Duan Lingtian, and then asked Duan Lingtian to issue a statement to make the two families retreat. Otherwise, even if Yin Hu said that he gave away or lost the things, the two families would not believe him and would still cause trouble. Now, Duan Lingtian is not interested in the sword-shaped jade pendant. He still wants Duan Lingtian to tell the outside world that the thing is in his hands and scare away the other two forces in Anqing. That's it? Duan Lingtian smiled calmly. "If this is the case, you can let the news out. In addition, if those two families want to collide with me, they can have their strongest people come together. I'm waiting for you." To him, this is really just a small thing among small things, not worth mentioning at all. Therefore, he casually took the divine crystal that Yin Hu handed over and was still hanging in the air, preparing to return it to his wife Li Fei and continue to use it as a necklace pendant for her. Chapter 46-52. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. After seeing Yin Hu off, Duan Lingtian turned back to the guest room courtyard and returned the divine crystal to Li Fei. "Brother Tian, this is..." Li Fei was a little surprised at the lost and recovered divine crystal. Duan Lingtian smiled and told the story, and then she suddenly realized that Ganqing was the family behind the Shinbao Pavilion, and they wanted her men to take advantage of them to show off their power. The other side. After Yin Hu returned, he spread the news and also told which inn and which guest room and courtyard Duan Lingtian stayed in. The other family and gang in Anqing quickly received the news. That Kendo jade pendant was given away by Yin Hu? And was it given to a strong Taoist? Is it true? You even told the other party's location? Is this intended for us to confirm? It was related to the jade pendant of Kendo, which was the key to entering the Tao. The head of the family and the gang leader of the two families soon went to the inn to visit the strong man who had entered the Tao, which was Duan Lingtian. After confirming that Duan Lingtian was a powerful Taoist, they retreated even though they felt unwilling to do so. Are we too radical? If we were more tactful, we wouldn't have forced the Yin family to take this step. After the two of them left the inn, they couldn't help but smile and shake their heads. They never expected that the Yin family would take such a step in order to prevent them from sharing the Kendo jade pendant. It was simply harming others and not benefiting themselves. On Duan Lingtian's side, after dealing with the two of them, the news soon became known to Yin Hu. Yin Hu also hurriedly took several elders from his family to visit Duan Lingtian. One is to express gratitude, and the other is to clarify Duan Lingtian's doubts. Before he left last time, Duan Lingtian told him that he hoped he could bring a few knowledgeable people from his family to help him solve some of his confusion. So the few old people he brought this time may not be the strongest, but he is definitely the most knowledgeable. One of them even left Anqing and Chuzhou and narrowly escaped death before returning. After all, there are still certain risks when walking outside without being a strong person. Grown-ups. Yin Hu brought people to see Duan Lingtian. After thanking him, he briefly introduced the elderly people he brought, and then asked Duan Lingtian to ask questions. Before that, I was also given a ring. It is indeed Neji, and its name is the same as the name of the place where Duan Lingtian was previously in the world, but the space in this Neji is different from the space in the world and the world outside the world. The latter relies more on the laws of space, and this is satisfied the key lies in the material. However, deep in the material, there is also a faint power of space. This is also the first time Duan Lingtian has felt the power of space in this world. Certainly, the ring here has no self-destruction function. Although it recognizes the owner, if the person dies, others can get the contents of the ring if they get it. This is similar to the secular Neji of the world, except that the material of this Neji is more advanced. After asking Yin who and learning that the value of the Neji was not high, Duan Lingtian asked him to arrange a few and prepare one for each of his family members. When they came to this world, all the space inside their Neji disappeared. Neji is useless. Yin, who was actually quite puzzled at first as Duan Lingtian and his group didn't even receive a precept and even lacked a divine stone, it stands to reason that a strong person cannot lack these things. It wasn't until Duan Lingtian told his origin that Yin who suddenly realized it. The reason why he told his story without any reservation was because Duan Lingtian felt that he could control the people in front of him, and he would leave the place soon afterwards without worrying about any danger against them. Moreover, even if you tell your origin, there may not be any danger. If you have this intention, you are just being cautious. Sir, if my guess is correct, you should come from the world created by the creation life chart and the way of life sacrifice you mentioned. Judging from the legends I heard outside, it doesn't sound right. Match. The old man who walked out of Chuzhou in Yin Hu's mouth, after pondering for a moment, spoke loudly and told some legends he had heard outside in the past. Creation chart? A created world? Hearing the old man's words, Duan Lingshan's originally confused and dim mind seemed to be instantly illuminated by a light from the sky. After taking a deep breath, he asked, "Senior, please elaborate." "Sir, you are a powerful person in Taoism. I don't dare to call you senior." The old man was a little frightened, but he didn't dare to neglect, and told Duan Lingtian one by one the legends he heard back then. In the past of the world of gods and earth, it is said that someone once used the creation chart to create a brand new world, and even captured people to enter it, allowing them to reproduce in it. In fact, the person who controls the creation chart can control everything in that new world, including time. It is said that in the world created with the creation life chart, the owner of the creation life chart can set many rules, and among them are the laws of elements, which are also the fundamental support for the operation of the creation life chart. When Duan Lingtian heard about the law of elements, his heart was shaken. Isn't that the various laws he has mastered before? Whether it is space, time, or life, the 5 elements are all one type of elements in the world. The strong person who refined the creation life chart after opening up a new world in it is said to have shared this with her husband. Later, she was killed by her husband, who used the creation life chart. Follow the path of life sacrifice, and will the creatures in the creation chart world serve as tools for him to become stronger. He destroys the world inside at every turn, fattens and kills the creatures inside. Later, when word spread about the incident, he was besieged and ganged up to kill. The person who killed him is lucky. Fortunately, he hasn't gone any further. Otherwise, it would be harder to kill him than to reach the sky. After that, the creation life chart became known to many people and was regarded as a taboo by the 5 strong men who joined forces to kill the master of the creation life chart. They divided one into 5, and each kept a part of it. The way of life sacrifice practiced by the Lord of the creation and life chart is also listed as a taboo way. Those who practice this way will be punished by the people of the divine land. As the old man continued to speak, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but feel waves of turmoil in his heart. He never expected that the truth would be like this. The world he was originally in, and even the places outside the world, were actually just the new world opened up by a creation chart in the world of gods and earth. Although what the old man said was just a legend, Duan Lingtian has basically confirmed that this is what actually happened. If he guessed correctly, later, a strong man named Yuluaha would either collect the creation life chart again, or he would refine a second creation life chart himself and open up thousands of new creation lives. Boundary, a place outside the boundary, where they are kept like pigs creatures for your own cultivation. Because, according to what the strong man who entered their world said, what Yuluaha practiced was the way of life sacrifice. Before the separation of history, the reason why the world was suddenly destroyed was because then Yuluo swallowed up all the creatures in the new world created in the creation chart at that time and used them for cultivation. The Yuluo River is actually the way of heaven in the eyes of all the worlds and creatures outside the world. But If the Yuluo River can initiate the destruction of the world and devour all living things as it did before the historical separation, why can't it do the same in our era? At last, it seems like they only killed the creatures in the Tower of Babel. Duan Lingtian still feels horrified when he thinks of the scene of the Tower of Babel collapsing and the shrill screams he saw before the Nirvana heaven was destroyed. Why does he, in our era, want to restrict the birth of the most powerful seventh-order existence? Why were there not those 9 mysterious entrances to the world of gods and earth before the separation of history? Now, Duan Lingtian can basically confirm that whether it is the counter-god world or the 9 mysterious entrances in other realms of the world behind them, 9 times out of 10, it is the divine earth world where he is now. Chapter 46-53. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. However, Duan Lingtian also had a lot of confusion in his heart. For example, before the separation of history, in the era when Old Man Wukong existed, why was there no mysterious entrance to the world of gods and earth, and why was the way of heaven in that era capable of destroying the world? However, in his era after the separation of history, the way of heaven was not destroyed. World? What is the purpose of restricting the birth of the most powerful 7th-level existence? In the later period, after he and his master broke through one after another, why did they not only no longer have restrictions, but also hope to have more powerful 7th-level beings? Why did the 9 mysterious entrances disappear one after another? As for the appearance of the 3rd entrance to the Tower of Babel after the 9 mysterious entrances disappeared, he now guessed the reason. It was that Yuluo wanted to pass through the Tower of Babel and kill the creatures who entered, and 9 out of 10 of them used him. Let's practice and improve our strength. Before the heaven of Nirvana collapsed and the turbulent space collapsed, he witnessed the destruction of the Tower of Babel with his own eyes, and countless shrill and horrifying screams. Master Yin, thank you. After digging out some things that the old man of the Yin family knew, Duan Lingtian thanked Yin Hu. But Yin Hu smiled and shook his head. Sir, you don't need to thank me. What I helped you is far less than what you helped me. What he said was true, as the other party helped him protect the sword-shaped jade pendant that contained the knowledge of the sword. The Yin family might be able to use the sword-shaped jade pendant to give birth to a strong man who has entered the Tao. By then, their Yin family will really be the only one in its city. This is a great thing for the descendants of Fuyin. After being sent to the Yin family, Duan Lingtian returned to the courtyard of the guest room and told his wives what he had learned. The women were also shocked and amazed. I really didn't expect that there is such a magical thing as the creation chart in the world. It can actually create a new world. So, the worlds we were in before, and even the places outside the world, are the worlds in the creation chart? And our earliest ancestors were also the masters of the creation chart, sent in from the world of gods and earth. No wonder I can't sense the power of any laws here. It turns out that the laws of elements can only exist in the creation world. The next day, Duan Lingtian told his parents about the incident, which made them equally horrified. No one expected that the world they lived in the past, whether it was the plane of gods, the plane of heavens, or the secular plane, were all superpowers in the world of gods and earth. Through that shocking creation horoscope, a new world opened up. Father, mother, I plan to take you to the capital of Chuzhou next. Duan Lingtian said, Zhoucheng is the most prosperous place in Chuzhou. If Niantian and Xiling are also involved in Chuzhou after being expelled from the small world in my body, they may go there. I decided to stay there for a while and see if I could meet them there. He had it all figured out. When you arrive in Chuzhou City, you should first find a place to stay. It is best to go out with a little reputation. In this way, once his family members and friends who are separated from him hear news about him in Chuzhou, they will definitely come to Zhoucheng to look for him. If he is famous enough, even if he is not in Chuzhou, he may still hear his name. As Duan Lingtian expressed these thoughts, Duan Rufeng, Li Ro, and his wife's eyes lit up. This method is feasible. Yes. In this way, I might be able to find my good grandson and granddaughter soon. Li Ro is really worried about her grandson and granddaughter, so she hasn't had a good rest recently. After staying in Anqing for another day, Duan Lingtian took a map and left Anqing with his family for the capital city of Chuzhou. In order to speed up, he personally led everyone on the way. However, even so, it still took nearly 10 days to reach the city, which shows how big Chuzhou is. Of course, this is also because every night Duan Lingtian would find a nearby city to stay and only travel during the day. If we had to travel day and night, it would only take a few days at most. This is also because the law of elements does not exist in the world of gods and earth. Otherwise, with the speed that Duan Lingtian can show in the world and outside the world, he can take his family from Anqing to Zhoucheng in a day or two at most. Zhoucheng is the core city of Chuzhou, so its vast area, majestic city walls, wide streets inside, and the number of passers-by are all beyond the capabilities of the small Anqing. But even so, Duan Lingtian and others were not very surprised. Just because in the past, when they were in Wanjie and beyond, they had seen cities that were bigger, more magnificent, and more lively than Chuzhou City. Find an inn to stay first, and then ask for news. Duan Lingtian spoke, and then took his family to one of the best inns in the city and checked in. Then, Duan Lingtian walked out of the inn alone to inquire about the news. The information he wanted to inquire about was how many of the strongest forces there were in this city, and what level the strongest practitioners among these forces were. When he was still in Anqing, he knew the divisions of cultivation realms in this world of gods and earth. For example, he now belongs to the 8th level of the Tao. Entering the 8th level of the Tao, only by comprehending one of the 10,000 ways to the 8th level can you successfully enter. The strong men at this level in the world of gods and earth are definitely not as good as the strongest 8th level strongmen in the past 10,000 realms and the land beyond the boundary. Even against the strongest 7th level beings, they are probably at most slightly better. Just because the existence of 10,000 realms and the land outside the boundary can use the laws of elements. The person who is recognized as the most powerful person in Chuzhou is also a person who has entered the 6th level of Taoism. After learning the news, Duan Lingtian knew that his plan was complete. As long as he defeats the most powerful man in Chuzhou, then he will be the most powerful man in Chuzhou. By then, his name will also be famous everywhere. As long as his family and friends are living in Chuzhou area, they will definitely everybody can hear about him the presence. By then, he will be able to reunite with his family and friends. I want to see the methods of the cultivators in this world of gods and earth. After confirming the sect where the most powerful man in Chuzhou was and the location of that sect, Duan Lingtian returned to the inn and said hello to his family. Then he left the state city and went to the sect called Shuiyun Sect. Shuiyun Sect is located 100 miles east of Chuzhou City. Its headquarters is hidden in the mountains, like a paradise. Of course, in Duan Lingtian's view, the Shuiyun Sect station was very shabby compared to the top sects he had come into contact with in the 10,000 realms and beyond the boundaries. Therefore, after he came here, he didn't even pay much attention to it. Interested? No. Standing directly outside the Shuiyun Sect's mountain gate, with his hands behind his back, he stood in the air and spoke loudly. Rural casual cultivator Duan Lingtian is here to visit Shuiyun Sect. He wants to challenge Shuiyun Sect's Tengyun Jusher to compete for the title of the most powerful person in Chuzhou. The sound of his opening was like thunder, spreading throughout the Shuiyun Sect. Especially the Shuiyun Sect disciples in front of the Shuiyun Sect's mountain gate were immediately frightened. It's not like they have never seen the elder who came to challenge their Shuiyun Sect, but they have never seen him so arrogant and direct. Come directly to the mountain gate and start the challenge. Shouldn't we pay a false visit first, and then mention the challenge in a tactful way? Chapter 46-54. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Duan Lingtian naturally knew that it was not polite for him to do this. However, he was too lazy to put in more effort. Moreover, in line with the principle of the strong are respected, if he, an 8th level cultivator, can challenge a 6th level cultivator, he will give the other party face and the greatest respect. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Within Shuiyun Sect, figures soon flew out one after another, staring at Duan Lingtian with eager eyes, all of them with hostile faces. Seeing this, Duan Lingtian was not surprised. If he were in the other party's position, his mood and reaction would definitely be similar. Too normal. Your name is Duan Lingtian? Are you worthy of competing with my great-uncle as the strongest person in Chuzhou? A strong, bald man wearing standard clothing walked out and stared at Duan Lingtian angrily, his eyes as cold as daggers, extremely sharp. Seeing the somewhat familiar figure of the other party, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but think of a person in his mind. An old friend. I don't know, that Lei Hong, after the third entrance to the Babel Tower was opened. Whether he would enter the Babel Tower to get a chance to improve his strength. If he had gone in, he would definitely be dead by now. If I hadn't gone in, he should also have wandered into this world of gods and earth. The person in front of him reminded Duan Lingtian of Lei Hong. Except for his facial features, his height and figure were the same. What? You think I'm not worthy? Duan Lingtian looked at the other party and smiled lightly. In that case, would you like to help your great-uncle try my method? I think so too. The bald man smiled coldly, then raised his hand, and the concussive power roared out, turning into a long whip, swinging in the void like a python, which was extremely weird. Snapped. There was a loud noise, but the bald man shook his long whip, followed the whip, and killed Duan Lingtian. Whoosh! In an instant, the long whip in the bald man's hand suddenly collapsed and turned into a sharp sword. The tip of the sword pointed directly at Duan Lingtian's eyebrows and penetrated towards Duan Lingtian. His eyes were also filled with cold, murderous intent. Still want to kill me? Duan Lingtian found it a bit funny. This person was overestimating his abilities, wasn't he? After all, he also came to challenge the existence of the 6th level of Shueyun's sect. The strength this person is showing now is only the 4th level at most. Do you want to kill him on this basis? Now, he could also see that when the other party entered the 4th level of Taoism, he also mastered the 4th level of Whip Tao. His movements were like flowing clouds and flowing water, and his whip was like an arm. Since you want to kill me, I will give you a ride. Facing the menacing bald man, Duan Lingtian's expression remained unchanged, and he didn't even intend to evade it. He just raised his hand casually, and a sword beam was shot out by him, and it roared out of his body. Call out. The sword light shot through the sky, like a short-lived meteor in the sky, which even made the bald man and the people of the Shueyun sect who came out with him unable to react. Poof! There was a soft sound, but the sword light penetrated the bald man's eyebrows and killed him from the air. Instant kill. Until this moment, the bald man was still far away from Duan Lingtian. As a result, his body paused in the void and then fell rapidly. Duan Lingtian unceremoniously put away the opponent's Neji. There is no self-destructive Negia in this world of gods and earth. As long as you kill the owner of the Negia and get the Negia, you can get everything inside. And this scene also caused the scene to fall into a brief silence. This Deputy Sect Leader Shur is dead? Oh my god. Deputy Sect Leader Shur is a powerful person on the 4th level. This man killed Deputy Sect Master Shur in one face-to-face? What kind of strength is this? In front of the mountain gate, several Shueyun sect disciples were stunned by the scene in front of them. Is this person too strong? No wonder he dared to come directly to challenge their Shueyun sect's strongest ancestor Tengyun. Master, our sect is in great danger. Please come out to meet the enemy. Master, junior brother Shurming was killed by someone who challenged you. When the people from the Shueyun sect who came with the bald man came to their senses, they shouted loudly, and their voices spread deep into the Shueyun sect's residence, quickly causing a sensation. First of all, the people from Shueyun sect were in an uproar and were horrified. This person is so powerful? He really wants the ancestor to take action himself? I have never heard of this Duan Lingtian before. Where did this strong man come from? We won't be in any danger, right? While all the people of Shueyun sect were shocked, some elders and disciples of Shueyun sect who were more flexible were preparing for a retreat. They retreated to the edge of the sect's base. They could leave the sect at any time and escape into the mountains and forests, where the sky is high. Fly. Snort dash. A cold snort came from the depths of Shueyun sect's residence, and then an elderly figure, Feng Su Yufeng, came over. It was an old man with white hair wearing Taoist robes. The old man has thick eyebrows and big eyes, and a resolute face. Regardless of the color of his hair, He only looks at his appearance. He looks like he has just entered middle age at best. Your Excellency, you come to me to challenge me, but you kill my Shuiyun sect disciples. Isn't it a bit too much? The old man stared at Duan Lingtian and asked in a deep voice with a bad tone. Duan Lingshan's expression remained unchanged, and he looked at him calmly. You, Master Tengyun, are no longer a child. If someone wants to kill you, and you have the ability to kill him, will you still spare his life? If he doesn't want to kill me, I have no interest in killing him. To me, he is nothing more than an ant. Although Duan Lingtian said this arrogantly, it was actually true. Shi Ming, who had just been killed by him, had mastered the 4th level of Whip Path. When he took action, there were no other 10,000 ways to show, and he obviously did not master the 2nd level. In his eyes, such an existence was really just a slap in the face. You can take pictures that will dead ants. And although he, after leaving the 10,000 realms and the land outside the boundary, could no longer rely on the laws of elements and lost the clone of the laws, in addition to the 8th level swordsmanship, he also realized the way of control and the way of infinity to the 7th level of situation. In terms of strength, even if he is today, he is only stronger than the 8th level strong man who only masters one Tao and understands it to the 8th level, and can use the elemental laws of the great perfection. Arrogant. Hearing this, Master Tingyun became furious. In an instant, his robes trembled, and his violent strength roared. He actually used his body as a base to condense a sky-reaching sword light, and slashed down towards Duan Lingtian with his 6th level swordsmanship. This sword shines straight into the sky, like a sword in the sky. It shines brightly, as if it can eclipse the sky and the earth. It falls with a crash, the sound of wind and thunder, and the momentum is like a rainbow. Buzz. The sword slashed down and the void shook, but there was no trace of space tearing. Duan Lingtian had to sigh in his heart again that the stability of the space in this world of gods and earth was far beyond his imagination. Even the sword he used to kill Shi Ming just now, not to mention tearing apart the space, did not even cause any ripples in the space. Chapter 46-55. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Flashy. Faced with Master Tingyun's menacing blow, Duan Lingtian spoke calmly, and then pointed out the condensed sword light roared, like tiny stars trying to compete with the sun and the moon in front of Master Tingyun's sword of the sky. However, when this tiny sword light, like a tiny star, touched Master Tingyun's giant sword in the sky, it instantly burst out with infinite power, defeating it in the blink of an eye, and then seemed to consume nothing, and the trend continued. Let's assassinate layman Xiang Tingyun. Enter the 7th level? Master Tingyun let out a horrified exclamation, and the anger in his eyes completely disappeared at this moment, replaced by shock and despair. I surrender. Senior, show mercy. At the moment of life and death, he felt the strong aura of death contained in the blow in front of him. While retreating quickly, Master Tengyun hurriedly spoke, and at the same time, he used all his means, and the sword light was crisscrossed, forming a line in front of him. Layers of protection, but still defeated like a torrent. In the face of the opponent's sword, all his methods seemed weak, and everything he did was in vain. Too strong. Not on the same level at all. There is a big dividing line between the 7th level swordsmanship and the 6th level swordsmanship. He has been studying for many years without making a breakthrough, but he did not expect that the person who challenged him today would master the swordsmanship he dreamed of. Snort dash. Duan Lingtian snorted coldly and controlled the sword light to pass by Master Tingyun's forehead, shoveling off a section of his long gray hair, and then whizzed away and disappeared from the end of the field of vision. Thank you, Senior, for showing mercy. Although Master Tang Yun's image has plummeted, and his hair is as disheveled as a tramp, when facing Duan Lingtian, he is terrified, fearing that he will offend him again. Now, he regretted it to death. You shouldn't be so strong. However, he has been strong for a long time. After all, he is recognized as the #1 person in Chuzhou. Although there are 2 other people who have entered the 6th level of Dao in Chuzhou, they are not his opponents. Who would have thought that the person who came to the door today was a being who had entered the 7th level of Taoism? Moreover, it feels stronger than the ordinary 7th level Tao. Senior, I have offended you so much just now. Please forgive me. Senior, forgive me. The rest of the Shueyun sect present saw that their ancestors were no match for the other party. Their expressions changed drastically. After they came to their senses, they also hurriedly bowed and apologized to Duan Lingtian. Did I win today's battle? Duan Lingtian looked at Master Tengyun and asked lightly. Certainly. Master Tengyun did not dare to hesitate at all and nodded hurriedly. Senior's strength is far beyond what I, Tengyun, can match. From today on, the most powerful person in Chuzhou is you, Senior. Duan Lingtian nodded with satisfaction and then said, I come to challenge you this time because I want to make a name for myself in Chuzhou. You remember, Duan Lingtian is my name. In the past, my friends and opponents all called me the Reverse Divine Sword. From now on, I, the Inverse Divine Sword Duan Lingtian, will be the strongest man in Chuzhou. You Shueyun sect can spread the word. If anyone is dissatisfied, you can come to the Chungfeng Inn in Chuzhou City to find me and fight. The following words, Duan Lingshan's high-pitched voice, clearly spread throughout the Shueyun sect. After the words fell, before everyone in the Shueyun sect could speak, Duan Lingtian turned around and walked away, disappearing in front of the layman Tingyun and others in the blink of an eye. At this time, everyone came back to their senses one after another. The anti-god sword Duan Lingtian? After Master Tengyun came to his senses, he murmured for a while that he had never heard of this person before. He thought he was really a loose cultivator who had just come out of seclusion for many years, and he would become famous throughout Chuzhou as soon as he came out of seclusion. Uncle. At this time, a senior member of the Shueyun sect who seemed to have a bit of flattery on his face approached layman Tengyun and suggested in a respectful tone, Just now, this Lord Duan Lingtian said that he lives at the Chungfeng Inn in Zhoucheng. I guess I just left the customs and haven't yet a place of your own. Our Shueyun sect has a lot of real estate in the city. Why don't you give him a set in person, which can be considered a good relationship? After all, if his reputation really spreads, even if we want to give him real estate, he probably won't want it. By then, the families in Zhoucheng will have already arranged real estate for him. As for layman Tingyun, after hearing what the other party said, his eyes suddenly lit up. Not bad. Your suggestion is good. And you, it seems that I underestimated you in the past, my uncle. You are very good. Layman Tengyun stepped forward and patted the person who gave him advice on the shoulder, smiling with satisfaction. Then, he looked at another middle-aged man with a majestic face next to him and said, Sect Master, prepare the best property of the sect in Zhoucheng, and then follow me to Chungfeng Inn in Zhoucheng to give it to Duan Lingtian. Grown-ups after he finished speaking, he looked at the person who gave the advice. And you can go too? Yes, master. Yes, uncle. The two heads of the Shueyun sect responded respectfully, especially the middle-aged man with a goatee who seemed to be born with a lingering goat's beard on his face. A senior brother glanced at his envy, jealousy, and hatred. Soon, the head of the Shueyun sect quickly selected the property and accompanied the layman Tengyun to the Chungfeng Inn in Zhoucheng. What? Someone wants to challenge me so soon? Duan Lingtian did not expect that just 2 days after returning from Shueyun sect, layman Tingyun from Shueyun sect came to his door, accompanied by 2 other people from Shueyun sect. I just thought someone wanted to challenge me. Sir, we are here to give you real estate, layman Tengyun said with a smile. I heard that you were staying at the inn in the past 2 days, and then I thought that you must have just appeared in Chuzhou. So I asked me the master of Shueyun sect has prepared a property belonging to our Shueyun sect in Zhoucheng for you as a gift. My lord, you live. Sect master, please introduce me. After the words fell, the Shueyun sect leader behind him took a step forward and bowed respectfully. Wu Danqing, the Shueyun sect leader, has met Lord Duan Lingtian. Lord Duan Lingtian, the property that our Shueyun sect intends to give to you is located in. Wu Danqing introduced patiently. Shueyun sect came to present the property with obvious good intentions, and it was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to guess their thoughts. However, he was new here and really needed a permanent property. The most important thing is that he is not alone. He has family around him. Having a fixed property will make it easier for him to settle down in this Chuzhou city. After all, he has planned to stay here for a while to see if there are any family members or friends. Living in Chuzhou, when they hear his name, they will naturally come to him. You might think that the name Duan Lingtian is the same name. However, with the name Anti-God Sword being the first two words in the anti-God realm, they wouldn't think it was just a person with the same name. They could definitely be him. Chapter 46-56. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. The property given by Shuiyun Zong is a vast mansion. Looking at the entire Chuzhou city, it is also a first-class mansion. Under the arrangement of the Shuiyun sect leader, Duan Lingtian and his family moved in smoothly. Even because he had no intention of keeping a low profile, Duan Lingtian let the Shuiyun sect arrange it. So everyone in Chuzhou City knew that the Shuiyun sect gave this mansion to the man who had just defeated the Tungyun layman not long ago. Strong casual cultivator, the reverse divine sword Duan Lingtian. For a time, the name of the inverse divine sword Duan Lingtian swept through the entire Chuzhou like a hurricane with the city as the center. We in Chuzhou also have super strong men who have reached the 7th level or above. I heard that Duan Lingtian, the anti-god sword, defeated our former strongest man in Chuzhou, the layman Tingyun of Shuiyun sect, in just one encounter. The 7th level and the 6th level are the watershed. Such a gap is normal. Before that, on the day of the housewarming when Duan Lingtian moved his family, all the big forces in Chuzhou basically sent people over. Either the sect leaders, family patriarchs, gang leaders came in person, or the top leaders of the major forces. The strong man comes in person. What Duan Lingtian didn't expect was that the old guy from Shuiyun sect, also known as Jushi Tungyun, stayed shamelessly, saying that he could help Duan Lingtian with some trivial things, but in fact he just wanted to from Duan Lingshan's side. He further improved his swordsmanship. Duan Lingtian didn't drive him away, because there were indeed benefits to keeping him. He could only occasionally point out problems in the opponent's swordsmanship, but he could get the opponent to help him conscientiously, and there was also a top sect in Chuzhou behind him for him to control, which was of no harm to him. But when the layman Tungyun stayed, he suddenly became the housekeeper of the Duan mansion. After the news spread, it triggered a series of shocks. The anti-god sword Duan Lingtian not only defeated the former strongest man in Chuzhou, but also made him willing to stay by his side as a housekeeper and handle trivial matters for him. For a time, many people across Chuzhou were discussing this matter. It's simply outrageous. The dignified Shuiyun sect ancestor, a strong man who has entered the 6th level of Taoism, is willing to be a butler. In my opinion, your vision is too low and your structure is too small. That Shuiyun sect ancestor, he was also the #1 person in Chuzhou in the past. How could he be a brainless person? Now, he is willing to condescend to follow Master Duan Lingtian, which shows that he is doing this will get him the benefits he wants. I think that's the case too. Old monsters like Master Tungyun are those who don't see rabbits and don't let go of hawks. Will they do things that cause losses? Anyway, I don't believe it. As far as I know, Master Tungyun is entering the Tao with a sword, and the name of Master Duan Lingtian is the anti-sword of God, which means that he also enters the Tao with a sword. As a strong person who has entered the 7th level of the Tao, his swordsmanship must be above the 7th level. According to me, look, Master Tungyun is pretending to be a butler, but he wants Master Duan Lingtian to help him improve his swordsmanship. You still see clearly. At the same time, in a small town called Qiansheng in Chuzhou, a young, beautiful woman with a refined temperament was walking out of a restaurant with a girl wearing a light golden dress and looking like jade. After people leave the city, then we headed towards Chuzhou City. Sister Xuanai, the anti-god sword Duan Lingtian they are talking about must be brother Lingtian. The girl said to the young woman with a very firm tone. It's obvious. The young woman smiled and said, if it's just a name, it could be the same name. With the name Inverse Divine Sword, who else could it be if he wasn't my brother? Brother is not someone who likes to be in the limelight. He is so famous in Chuzhou. I think he came here just to look for us. He wants us to go to Chuzhou City to find him as soon as we know his traces. This young woman is none other than Han Xuanai. As for the girl beside her, it is Xiao Jin. In the past, When they were still part of the divine heritage land in the small world inside Duan Lingtian, they initially practiced with Duan Siling, Duan Yintian, Xiao He, and Xiao Bai, but later they were divided into 3 teams, each an experience everywhere. She was with Xiao Jin, Duan Siling, and Xiao Bai together, Duan Yintian and Xiao He together. But they didn't expect that such a big change would suddenly happen. The land of divine heritage was destroyed and the turbulent space collapsed. Then the 2 of them also wandered into Chuzhou in this divine land world. It took them a while to find the people and came to in a small city called Qiancheng. They had been here for a few days and had no intention of leaving rashly. But today they heard rumors about the anti-sword Duan Lingtian. They knew that it was their brother Duan Lingtian, so they decided to leave immediately, and went to Chuzhou City to reunite with his brother. Although they have not yet entered the Tao, their strength is not bad. When they were still in the land of divine relics, they received the most powerful godhead from Duan Lingtian to assist in their cultivation. In addition, there was no shortage of various training resources, and they successively stepped into the realm of the gods. Respect the realm. Along the way, although I encountered bandits, I dealt with them easily. Finally, we arrived at Chuzhou City successfully. After a little inquiring, they found out where the Duan mansion was. It was also at this time that they realized that although their brother Duan Lingtian had become famous in Chuzhou for a short time, his intimidating power in the city and even the entire Chuzhou was far greater than that of the former strongest man in Chuzhou, Tingyun Jusher. Even when they came outside Duan Mansion, they could still see some people queuing up to give gifts. The purpose of these people is to join their brother Lingtian, follow their brother Lingtian to understand the way of swordsmanship, and enter the way with the sword. 2 girls, you are also here to become a disciple? Naturally, it is impossible for layman Tingyun to be stationed at the door of Duan Mansion. The people guarding here are the more clever elders of Shuiyun sect arranged by layman Tingyun at the request of the Shuiyun sect leader. As for ordinary Shuiyun sect disciples, he felt that they were not worthy guard the door for the respected Lord Duan Lingtian. Hello, Senior. Please inform Mr. Duan Lingtian that our old friends Han Shuanai and Xiao Jin are visiting. Han Shuanai said politely to the old gatekeeper who asked him. She did not directly explain the relationship between her and Duan Lingtian, fearing that the other party would mistakenly think that she was looking for an excuse to have with him, so she just visited her normally. As long as her brother Lingtian heard the report, he would naturally come to pick her up. Let's go in. Old friend? After hearing this, the Shuiyun sect elder did not dare to neglect and reported it immediately. Of course, he was not qualified to go to Duan Lingtian directly. He was looking for layman Tingyun. Uncle, 2 girls came outside, saying they are the old friends of Lord Duan Lingtian. After Master Tingyun received the notification, he immediately went to find Duan Lingtian. After Duan Lingtian heard the names of Shuanai and Xiao Jin from the mouth of Master Tingyun, his eyes suddenly lit up. He knew that his plan was beginning to show results. Shuanai and Xiao Jin must have happened to be living in Chuzhou, otherwise no maybe he came to your door so quickly. It's Shuanai and Xiao Jin. Duan Lingshan's wife Li Fei also heard the announcement from layman Tingyun and was so excited that she ran out immediately. Duan Lingtian followed behind. When he arrived at the gate of Duan Mansion, he saw his wife Li Fei hugging 2 familiar slim figures, and a smile appeared on his face. Shuanai and Xiao Jin found it. This is a good start. Chapter 46-57. Elder Brother. Elder Brother. When Han Shuanai and Xiao Jin saw Duan Lingtian, they immediately left Li Fei's arms in excitement and threw themselves at Duan Lingtian. Tears of excitement fell down. In a completely unfamiliar environment, their sense of crisis increased greatly, especially since they had been protected by Duan Lingtian before. Comparing the two, they were like the difference between hell and heaven. I really didn't expect that the first ones I found were you 2 girls. Duan Lingtian also hugged the 2 girls one by one, smiled and patted their backs, and then separated them after a few words of comfort. In his eyes, the 2 girls are no different from his biological sisters. A quarter of an hour later, all the family members and friends around Duan Lingtian sat together, listening to the 2 daughters Han Shuanai talking about what happened after they ended up living here. Before coming to Chuzhou City, they also had a certain understanding of the world. Of course, Duan Lingtian doesn't know many things as well as he does. They didn't know the legend of the creation life chart. When they heard Duan Lingtian mention this, they were all shocked. They didn't expect that the world they used to live in, and the place outside the world, might actually be the creation of the world. An independent world opened up in the natal chart. No wonder the existence of laws cannot be sensed here, Xuana suddenly realized, and the little face carved with gold powder and jade was also full of surprise. In any case, the arrival of Xuanai and Xiaojin gave everyone a boost in the arms. As time goes by, family members and friends will definitely come to seek refuge. Perhaps there are other people from the god-defying realm who know Duan Lingtian coming. And this is indeed the case. Half a month later, another person came to Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City and approached Duan Lingtian. The person who came was actually Zhaoani from the Qingyan holy sect in the land outside the boundary. When Duan Lingtian met him for the first time, he was the strongest member of the Qingyan holy sect, a saint with considerable strength, the strongest 6th level. The presence. Later, he also stepped into the 7th level of the strongest. Here, he also has the ability to enter the 7th level. It seems you didn't enter the Tower of Babel. Seeing Zhaoani again, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but sigh. When his master Feng Qingyang followed his wife to the outside world, he asked his master to say hello to Zhaoani and remind him not to enter Tongtian again. Tower. At that time, his thought was that he should be reminded that as for Zhao Enya's choice, it was entirely up to him. Now it seems that Zhaoani has listened. Speaking of which, thanks to Brother Lingtian for your reminder. Zhaoani cupped his hands in front of Duan Lingtian and said, "That day, Brother Feng also specifically mentioned in his message that you asked him to call Mr. Ming of Bibo Tianfu to inform me. Actually, at that time I didn't quite believe that there would be problems with the Tower of Babel. It's just that I feel that you won't do it without aim. So, I just refrained from entering the Tower of Babel again. But I didn't expect that something would really happen to the Tower of Babel. Before the land outside the boundary was destroyed, the turbulent space receded, and the law of elements disappeared. Zhaoani also witnessed the collapse of the Tower of Babel and heard the horrific screams coming from inside. It was horrifying and unforgettable. After some exchanges between the two, Duan Linkai found out that Zhaoani had also heard about the legend of the creation life plan and concluded that the worlds and places outside the world were most likely to be the world created by the creation life plan. That Yuluo is the master of the creation chart. However, he was caught, but I don't know if he was killed. In fact, I was not living in Chuzhou at first, but in another state next to Chuzhou. I came to Chuzhou because I wanted to get some information. When I realized that my strength was comparable to the 7th level strongman here, and that the strongest person in Chuzhou was only the 6th level, I also tried to defeat him, replace him, become famous everywhere, and then gather together my thoughts as a survivor of the Qingyan holy sect. Unexpectedly, I received news within a few days that Shuiyun sect Tungyun layman was defeated by a reclusive strongman named Duan Lingtian, and he was willing to become his follower, riding in front and behind. After I learned about the name of the anti-god sword that you promoted to the outside world, I guessed that it was you, so I came to look for you. It was rare for old friends to reunite. So Zhaoani stayed with Duan Lingtian for a few days before leaving. There is Duan Lingshan's Duan Mansion in Chuzhou, and people who want to come to their Qingyan holy sect may also come here. Therefore, he planned to go to another state to make a name for himself, become a well-known figure there, and become the second Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian made an agreement with him to send someone to inform him after he has established a foothold. If someone from the Qingyan holy sect comes to Duan's house, Duan Lingtian will send someone to take him to Zhaoani, and Zhaoani will also help arrange for Duan Lingtian. Family and friends. Mutual benefit and mutual assistance. The two of them already had a friendship, and since they were in a foreign land, it was natural for them to work together. Soon, as time went by, many old friends came to Chuzhou City Duan Mansion one after another. They were either people from the Nishan realm, or people from Bibo Tianfu, Qingyun sacred sect, or the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty. Duan Lingtian placed them one by one. Soon, news came from Zhaoani. Zhaoani defeated the most powerful person in Yunzhou and became the new #1 person in Yunzhou. He also named himself Old Man Qingyun and also had a mansion of his own in Yunzhou, named Qingyun Mansion. After Duan Lingtian received the news, he sent someone to send several disciples of Qingyun holy sect over. Not long after sending the person away, Zhaoani also sent someone over. The third master of the Xia family, Xiajia, was sent over. Third uncle. Both Duan Lingtian and Kier were very happy to see Xiajia again. Compared to Xiaoyu, the head of the Xia family, the two of them are closer to Xiajia. Later, several more powerful people from the God realm came to the Duan mansion. For them, in this strange world, it was much better for them to take refuge with Duan Lingtian, an 8th-level powerhouse like them, than to live by themselves. Master Duan Lingtian is actually a powerful person on the 8th level. At the same time, Master Tingyan also learned from a powerful person in the Nishan realm that Duan Lingtian had mastered the 8th-level swordsmanship and was a genuine 8th-level expert. It could be said that he was severely frightened. Before that, he had always regarded Duan Lingtian as a being on the 7th level of the Tao. But he didn't expect that he was a powerful person who had entered the 8th level. It didn't take long. Another unexpected person came to Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City. Duan Lingtian has actually never seen this person before. However, there is a lot of connection with him. This is a young girl who looks quirky. When she saw Duan Lingtian, she smiled and said, "I didn't expect that I found you first before I found Qimei and the others. Senior nephew Duan Lingtian, I have long admired your name." Chapter 46-58. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. This is a girl who looks to be about 13 or 14 years old. She has 2 braids on her head and pretty cheeks carved with pink and jade. I felt pity for her when I saw her. Although Duan Lingtian has never met her, he has heard of her more than once. The second city lord of the 13 cities in the Western Jin dynasty was Yu Xiao. She is also the second sister of his junior wife, Xue Qingzhu. Uncle Yu. Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly. He couldn't help it. He was really lower in seniority than the other party. After all, the other party's 7th sister was his junior wife. Good. Yu Xiao laughed and looked very optimistic, not at all pessimistic about the old friends who Duan Lingtian had come into contact with before and came to this strange world. The two chatted for a while, and Duan Lingtian was the first to ask, "Uncle Yu, do you plan to go out and make a name for yourself and gather people from the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty?" Now, they are probably scattered all over the world. While communicating with Yu Xiao, he also learned that Yu Xiao also knew the existence of the creation life plan, and also guessed that the place outside the world where she was previously was a world created by the creation life plan. "I'm lazy." Yu Xiao yawned and shook his head. "Leave this kind of matter to your elder brother. From today on, I will stay at your house and wait for Qimei and Qishi brother-in-law to come to you." Seeing Yu Xiao's lazy look, Duan Lingtian was speechless for a while. He had long heard the master's wife talk about this person's glorious deeds and knew his character, but when he came into contact with him seriously, he still couldn't help but feel deeply moved. How did such a lazy person reach the 6th level of the strongest and become a saint before the Tower of Babel appeared? Later, after the Tongtian Tower appeared, the other party became the second most powerful 7th-level powerhouse in the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty, after Xue Qingzhu. Although the laws of the divine earth world have disappeared, the opponent's strength is still comparable to the 7th level of the Tao in this world. "Uncle Yu, I heard Zhaoani from Qingyun Holy Sect say before that not only could he not sense the existence of the power of law in the world of gods and earth, but the power of bloodline has also disappeared. Is the power of your bloodline still there?" Duan Lingtian thought about this and couldn't help but ask. Yu Xiao nodded. "My bloodline power has also disappeared. If I guessed correctly, the so-called bloodline power of the Aboriginal people in our outside world also appeared based on the power of law. It's just not like the law clone of you people from all realms, which directly targets the law. In the past, the powerful people from all realms did not have the power of blood as a basis. That was the method of the indigenous people in the outside world. The avatars of the laws possessed by powerful men in all realms cannot be condensed by the natives of the lands outside the realm. It can be said that each has its own advantages. Unexpectedly, All realms and the land outside the realm were destroyed, and all living beings fled to the world of gods. All these methods were lost in the dust of history. Duan Lingtian knew that after the world was shattered, it was almost impossible to go back. Unless we get the creation chart to see if we can repair the ruined world, then there may be a glimmer of hope. However, that must be a very difficult thing. However, he still wanted to try it if given the chance. After all, that is his hometown, and it means a lot to him, and even to people like him who live in the world of the gods. Uncle Yu, since you don't plan to go out and make trouble, otherwise, will this part of my house be left to you? I'll just go out and try my best to become more famous. I can also get along with Master Nyang and the others faster. Reunion. Once I'm reunited with Master Nyang and the others, tell them you're here and they can come directly to you, Duan Lingtian said. As you sit here, you only need to protect my family and give them a safe cultivation environment. Yu Shaonai is a being on the 7th level of Taoism. It couldn't be easier to save his Duan mansion and his family in Chuzhou. He didn't plan to take too many people with him when he left this time. At most, Huaner and Kier should be brought with them. Both girls have already entered the Tao. As for the other people who have never entered the Tao, it is better to let them stay here to practice. He can rest assured that Yu Shao will protect him. That's no problem. Yu Shao nodded. It's much better for you to go out and try it than for me. With my strength, the fame I can achieve is limited. You are different. With your strength, although it's only the 8th level of the Dao, but the general Dao on the 9th floor, I'm afraid it's hard for anyone to be your opponent. As Xue Qingzu's second sister, she had long known Duan Lingshan's industry from Xue Qingzu's mouth. She knew that Duan Lingtian not only understood the way of swordsmanship to the 8th level, but also had extremely high attainments in the way of control and the way of infinity. Hi. Now, she guessed that she might have entered the 7th level. Then it's settled. After getting Yu Shao's consent, Duan Lingtian breathed a sigh of relief, so that he could leave with peace of mind. After saying hello to Yu Shao and leaving, Duan Lingtian gathered his family together and told his plan at the same time. He is planning to leave Chuzhou and go to a place where there are more powerful people to further build his fame, so that his old friends, relatives, and friends who are still living abroad can reunite. Naturally, all the wives wanted to go, but Duan Lingtian only asked Huaner and Kier to accompany them. The reason was that they had already entered the Tao, and the others had not, so it was better to practice hard. When Li Fei and Feng Tianwu heard this, determination flashed in their eyes, and they were determined to sprint into the Tao. Duan Rufeng and Li Ro didn't feel much at all. They stayed in Chuzhou City for a while and felt that it was a good place and suitable for retirement. Han Xuanai and Xiao Jian were also a little disappointed that they could not go out with Duan Lingtian. They were also full of yearning for strength and decided to concentrate on training in the next time and enter the Tao as soon as possible. After explaining to his family, Duan Lingtian found a special time to introduce Yu Shao to them. After knowing that Yu Shao was Xue Qingzu's second sister, everyone was very enthusiastic. Uncle Yu, I will leave my family to you. A few days later, Duan Lingtian said hello to Yu Shao, took Huaner and Kier, and left together under the watchful eyes of Yu Shao and others. The procession that sent Duan Lingtian away was huge. Not only Yu Shao and Duan Lingshan's family members, but also some old friends from the past were there. Even the layman Tingyun of the Shuiyun sect was also there. Although he was a little disappointed with Duan Lingshan's departure, he was still inexplicably excited when he thought that Duan Lingtian had left him with some knowledge of swordsmanship before leaving. All your efforts over this period of time have finally paid off. Next, during the time when Lord Duan Lingtian is away, he must express himself better. As long as he wins Lord Duan Lingshan's favor, why can't he make further progress in swordsmanship? Brother Tian, let's leave Chuzhou. Where will we go next? Before leaving Chuzhou, Kier asked curiously. Until now, Duan Lingtian has not told Kier and Huaner the destination of their trip. Go to Jiangzhou, which is also the core area of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and the capital of Divine Kingdom is there, Duan Lingtian said. Chapter 46-59. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. To this day, Duan Lingshan's understanding of the world of divine soil is limited to Jianglan Divine Kingdom and the surrounding area. Chuzhou is just a relatively remote state in Jianglanshan's country. If Duan Lingtian hadn't been born, there would have been no existence above the 7th level of the Tao in Chuzhou for many years. There are more than one person who has entered the 7th level of the Tao in some of the cities and towns within the Jianglan Divine Kingdom that are close to Jiangzhou, where the capital of the Divine Kingdom is located. In the core state of Jiangzhou, although there are not countless existences above the 7th level of Tao, there are still quite a few. If we don't talk about anything else, in the capital of the Kingdom of God, all the forces that can be named are among them. There is an entrance on the 7th floor, the strong ones above. Rumor has it that Jianglan, the patron saint of the Kingdom of God and the great enshrinement of the royal family of the Kingdom of God, is a super strong man who has entered the 9th level of the Tao. As the capital of the Kingdom of God, it is naturally very prosperous. It is much stronger than Chuzhou City. However, for Duan Lingtian and his party, they did not feel much, because in the world they were in the past, in the land outside the boundary, there were many cities that were as prosperous as the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and they had also been there, so I don't think it's that strange. Here, Huaner, let's find an inn to stay first, and then he'll go out to do some errands, Duan Lingtian said to his wife beside him. The two girls also nodded sensibly, knowing that with their current strength, they can barely protect themselves. That's good. I can't help my husband. It's better to stay in the inn and practice hard. Strive to go further. There is basically no shortage of training resources, and my husband's personal guidance on Kendo means the road ahead is smooth. After arranging his wife, Duan Lingtian walked out of the inn, asked for directions, and finally went to a vast mansion in the capital. He said to several servants guarding the door, I am Duan Lingtian from Duan Mansion in Chuzhou, and I am here to come to your Hong Mansion. A strong one, Hong Dongchuan, is participating in the discussion. Please let me know. Hong Dongchuan is a well-known strong man in the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. He is a person on the 8th level of the Tao. He is also a big figure in the capital of the Divine Kingdom. In addition, the Hong family is still a relative of the emperor, so Hong Dongchuan is within the scope of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Status extremely high, respected by thousands of people. The mansion in front of me has a plaque with the word Hong Mansion hanging on the door. This is where the Hong family's mansion is located. When several domestic slaves heard Duan Lingtian's words, their pupils shrank slightly. They didn't look like they were joking, and most people didn't dare to make such a joke. After all, this kind of joke can kill people. Therefore, they did not dare to neglect, and a servant immediately turned around and returned to the Hong Mansion, and hurriedly went to find the person in charge of their Hong Mansion, the current head of the Hong family, Hong Wuji. After hearing the report from the slave, Hong Wuzi's pupils shrank slightly. Chuzhou, Duan Lingtian? It seems to be the anti-god sword Duan Lingtian. Although Duan Lingtian's current fame is not enough to spread throughout the entire Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Hong Wuji, as the person in charge of the Hong Mansion and the current head of the Hong family, has a lot of respect for God. There are many new strong men in various states in the country who know a lot about each other. Naturally, I have heard about the newly rising Duan Lingtian. In addition, in another state of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, another strong man who entered the 7th level of Taoism has emerged, named Zhaoani, who calls himself Old Man Qingya. Duan Lingtian, the anti-god sword, Qingyan Old Man Zhaoani. I heard that these two people have some contact. They all seem to appear out of thin air. Some time ago, I heard that the training place of the new master of Chuangshi Lifeban was found. Many powerful Hadao men took action, seriously injuring him and severely damaging Chuangshi Lifeban. It almost destroyed the world created in the creation chart, causing all the creatures in it to flow out. All parties in the world of Luoshintu. Are these two people from that place? As the person in charge of the Hong Mansion, Hong Wuji knew far more than ordinary people. However, Duan Lingtian, the anti-god sword, dares to come to our Hong Mansion and threatens to challenge the ancestor. I am afraid that it is not the 7th level of the Taoist mentioned in the rumors. I am afraid that it has already entered the 8th level of the Taoist. Thinking of this, Hong Wu couldn't help but feel a bit of fear in his eyes, and then he took his servants to the gate of Hong Mansion in person. Your Excellency, you must be the new strongest person in Chuzhou recently, Master Duan Lingtian of the anti-sword sword, right? Although Hong Wuji is the head of the Hong family, he himself is only on the 6th level of Taoism. He does not dare to neglect or make excuses in front of this young man in purple who looks very young. I am Hong Wuji, the person in charge of Hong Mansion. I heard that you came to Hong Mansion to challenge our Hong Mansion ancestors. Hong Wu's words were quite polite. Duan Lingtian nodded. I'm going to test the depth of the 8th level Taoist from your Hong Mansion. If I can beat him, I also hope that you, Hongwu, can pull the strings so that I can have a chance to challenge the 9th level Taoist from the Imperial compound. Hearing this, Hongwu's heart was filled with turmoil. What's the situation? This Duan Lingtian also wants to challenge the 9th level member of their royal family of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, the being who is known as the guardian of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Does he really have that strength? Or did he drift away after becoming the number 1 person in Chuzhou? Lord Duan Lingtian, I will take you to see the ancestor. As for whether the ancestor is willing to spar with you, I dare not make the decision for him. Hong Wuji secretly took a deep breath, calmed down the restlessness in his heart, and said politely to Duan Lingtian. At the same time, he also had a lot of thoughts in his mind. It is said that the new owner of the creation life chart cannot completely control the creation life chart like the old owner of the creation life chart. Once the life that opened up the world in it has the strength to reach the 7th level of entry or above, it will be difficult for him to cover it up. Creation chart their traces will be discovered and even hunted down. After all, he stole and reorganized the creation chart in order to imitate the old owner of the creation chart and wanted to follow the forbidden life sacrifice method. Under such circumstances, he actually allowed the beings inside to appear as beings above the 7th level of the Tao. Isn't this seeking death? No wonder he was discovered and almost killed. Good. Duan Lingtian nodded, and then followed Hong Wuji into the Hong Mansion. Soon, in a quiet courtyard deep in the Hong Mansion, he met the ancestor of the Hong Mansion, the 8th level Taoist who was famous in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Prison Knife Hong Dongchuan. As his name suggests, what he is good at is the sword way among all the ways. Although Hong Dongchuan is the ancestor of the Hong Mansion, he is actually a handsome young man. He looks to be about the same age as Duan Lingtian. After learning Duan Lingshan's identity and purpose, his eyes could not help but reveal something. Share fighting spirit. Chuzhou Nishinjian, I have heard of you. Some time ago, an old friend of mine told me that there is a new strong man in Chuzhou with a name that is quite similar to mine. The anti-god sword, the prison-suppressing sword, are indeed somewhat similar. Since you dare to challenge me, you must have entered the 8th level of the Tao, right? Chapter 46-60. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Hong Dongchuan is a cheerful person. After learning Duan Lingshan's intention, he agreed to his challenge. He even intended to build momentum for Duan Lingtian, and made an agreement with Duan Lingtian to fight on the highest peak Qingtian Peak near the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom in half a year. At the same time, the Hong Mansion will spread the news widely from now on. Like Hong Wuji, he also guessed Duan Lingshan's identity and also guessed Duan Lingshan's purpose of eagerness to become famous, which was nothing more than to reunite his family and friends who were scattered across the divine land. Brother Lingtian, you should come from the world created by the creation life plan, right? Hong Dongchuan got straight to the point and made the point straight away. Hearing Hong Dongquan's words, Duan Lingtian secretly took a deep breath. Unexpectedly, the other party guessed his origin. He quickly asked the other party how he guessed his origin. He had no intention of hiding his origins. That's not necessary. The owner of the creation life chart will be targeted by the powerful people in the world of gods and earth because he uses the new world opened up by the creation life chart to practice the forbidden life sacrifice method and exchange the spiritual life of all living things for the improvement of his own strength. Therefore, he provokes the world. Angry people blame. It can be seen from this that the powerful people in the world of gods and earth still prefer justice. Even if it is just superficial justice, it is still considered justice. If Jianglan Divine Kingdom only produced you, the anti-god sword, I wouldn't guess that you were from there. However, another old man Qingyun appeared later, and I had to connect you too. In the 2 states where the strongest people were originally the 6th level, 2 existences above the 7th level have appeared one after another. It makes people curious about your origins. It's like you appeared out of thin air. It's true that there are powerful people in the hidden world and the world of gods and earth, but basically it will take a long time for one to appear, or they won't be born at all. But you guys appear one after another, which makes people think deeply. Now, I am not the only one who guesses like this. Even the existences above the 7th level of Jianglan Divine Kingdom also guess like this. In fact, some people have long wanted to meet and communicate with you. If you don't come to the capital, I'm afraid it won't be long before someone goes to Duan Mansion in Chuzhou Prefecture to visit you. After hearing Hong Dongquan's words, Duan Lingtian realized that he was already the #1 figure in Jianglan Divine Kingdom and had entered the vision of the top powerhouses in Jianglan Divine Kingdom. At this time, Duan Lingtian also understood why Hong Dongquan had decided to announce the match 3 months later. This is intentional to help him. Just now, he thought that Hong Dongquan wanted to defeat him openly in front of more people, so as to satisfy his vanity. Now it seems that after some exchanges, he can also feel the kindness from the other party. It is obvious that he thought of the other party too badly. Thank you, Brother Hong. Duan Lingtian thanked him repeatedly, because he knew that as the news spreads in the Hong Mansion, I am afraid that the entire Jianglan Divine Kingdom will spread about the showdown between the two of them half a year later. The strong men from Lanshan Kingdom will definitely be their field. Even outside Jianglan Divine Kingdom, there will definitely be people coming to watch the battle. Brother Lingtian is welcome. Hong Dongquan smiled slightly. You have just arrived, so you probably don't have a place to live in the capital, right? They'll ask Wu Ji to arrange a mansion for you and your wife to live in. Just now, during the communication with Duan Lingtian, he also learned that Duan Lingtian did not come alone. He also brought 2 ladies with him. Thank you, Brother Hong. In this way, Duan Lingtian, Kier, and Huaner also found a place to stay in the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Hong Wuji arranged a place for Duan Lingtian. After returning to Hong Mansion, he approached Hong Dongquan and asked, Ancestor, are you too kind to Duan Lingtian? He could tell that this ancestor had a love for money. You should know that I was born with sharp senses, especially after I entered Taoism. I am even more different from ordinary people. Hong Dongquan was sitting at the table drinking tea. After taking a sip of tea, his eyes flickered. Duan Lingtian, in addition to his understanding of swordsmanship, the realm is not weaker than my sword art. He should have also comprehended at least one kind of 10,000 ways above the 7th level. You should know what this means. As soon as Hong Dongquan said these words, Hong Wuji couldn't help but take a breath of air. How is this possible? It is extremely difficult to comprehend a Tao and advance to the 7th level. The second way is more difficult. For example, the ancestor of their Hong Mansion is not only good at swordsmanship, he is also good at several other ways. However, among those several ways, the strongest ones only reach the 6th level. It is difficult to cross the threshold of the 7th level because he will be mastered. The Tao Dao of swords is rejected. Under the pressure of 8 levels of swordsmanship, trying to promote the other ways to the 7th level is difficult to achieve. In the current Jianglan Divine Kingdom, as far as he knows, there are only a few people who have promoted the second path to the 7th level. This has also established the status of those 2 as the strongest, making them stand in the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. The pinnacle is called invincible. One of them is said to have transcended the path of enlightenment and stepped onto the path of harmony. Looking at the entire world of gods and earth, there are only a few dozen powerful Hudao people. It is said that if you want to merge with the Tao, the first threshold is to comprehend the 2 Tao to the 7th level or above. The second threshold is to comprehend the 2 Tao to the 9th level or above. Fusion of the 2 Tao will open up your own path. A brand new way, and the combination is successful, is the third threshold. Only when all 3 thresholds are passed can one achieve harmony. The difficulty of harmony has existed throughout ancient and modern times. Only when you have passed the first threshold can you be considered qualified to be a Taoist. Being friends with such a person will bring no harm to me or the Hong Mansion. After hearing Hong Dongquan's words, Hong Wuji knew that what the ancestor just said was 90% correct. The ancestor is a cautious and arrogant person. If the other party was not really good, he would not be able to create such momentum and be willing to become a stepping stone for others. When the 2 of them were communicating in Hong Mansion, on Duan Lingshan's side, Kier and Huaner were also quite surprised after hearing Duan Lingshan's experience in Hong Mansion. Then Senior Hong Dongchuan from Hong Mansion is so easy to talk to? And he also takes the initiative to help Brother Tian to build momentum and make Brother Tian famous? Kier felt that the other party was too kind to her husband, which was simply unreasonable. In fact, Duan Lingtian is still a little confused about this. Logically speaking, the other party should not be so careful about him. This seems to be a deliberate investment in him, just because he may be able to defeat him and advance. Want to become famous? However, there are a few people who are willing to become stepping stones for others. Duan Lingtian was really confused by Hong Dongquan's help from the Hong Mansion, and he couldn't figure out why the other party was so kind to him. He couldn't refuse this kind offer. Chapter 46-61. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. The Hong Mansion of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom intentionally spread the news. The news that the strongest man in Chuzhou, Duan Lingtian, came to the capital to challenge Hong Dongchuan, the powerful man of the Hong Mansion, quickly spread throughout the Jianglan Divine Kingdom and even the surrounding areas. Come on, Hong Dongchuan. I do know that he is a strong man who has been famous for many years in our Jianglan Divine Kingdom. He is also a strong man who has entered the 8th level. In terms of strength, in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, not to mention the top 3, he is definitely in the top 5. Something. But that part of Ling God, who is it? Isn't the most powerful person in Chuzhou the Master Tingyun of Shuiyun sect, the top sect in Chuzhou? Somewhere in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, someone asked such a question. You just came out of seclusion, so it's not surprising that you don't know. Someone immediately helped the former to clarify his doubts. Speaking of Duan Lingtian, he is a new strong man in Chuzhou. It is said that he originally practiced in seclusion, and after he came out of seclusion, he went to Shuiyun Zone, challenged Layman Tungyun, and defeated him easily. Because Duan Lingtian was good at it, is the way of swordsmanship that makes Layman Tingyun willing to follow him around, riding in front of and behind him. There are even rumors that this anti-divine sword Duan Lingtian may not be as simple as a 7th-level powerhouse. Now it seems that it is indeed the case. If he doesn't have the strength to enter the 8th level, why should he fight with Senior Hong Dongchuan? After hearing this, the former suddenly realized, no wonder I said I haven't heard of Duan Lingtian. It turns out that he is a new strong man in Chuzhou. His name is Reverse Divine Sword? That goes hand in hand with Hong Dongquan's name, Prison Suppressing Sword. I don't know who will be better then. The news came out a month ago, and their duel will be in 5 months. Then I will go over and see it with my own eyes. Half a year later, the anti-divine sword Duan Lingtian and the prison-suppressing sword Hong Dongchuan will fight on Qingtian Peak near the capital, attracting the attention of not only the people of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, but also people outside Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Be attracted. In the world of Divine Land, there is only one Divine Kingdom, which is Jianglan Divine Kingdom. However, the area occupied by Jianglan Divine Kingdom is less than 1% of the Divine Land world. In addition to Jianglan Divine Kingdom, there are many vast mountains, rivers, land, rivers and seas in the rest of the Divine Earth world, many of which are very. It is a dangerous place that only powerful monks dare not set foot in. Jianglan Divine Kingdom is not the richest place in the Divine Land world, and is barely at the middle level. The human gathering places in the Divine Land world are not only the Divine Kingdom, but also divine realms, temples, etc. To the north of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom, there is a dangerous place called the Endless Sword Domain, which is said to be a long-lasting place. Previously, 2 strong swordsmen who had entered the extremely high level of the Hadao realm were engaged in a life-and-death fight. They continued to fight for several months, creating a dangerous place. It is also a place that swordsmen love and hate. I love it because entering the Endless Sword Realm gives you the opportunity to further improve your swordsmanship. I hate it because there are so many dangers inside, and if you are not careful, you may lose your life in it. Finally, a breakthrough. Otherwise, it will be really embarrassing. Within the Endless Sword Domain, a green figure burst out with light, and then shrank sharply. He rose into the sky, bathed in the rain of swords, without fear, and his body suddenly felt strong. A bright sword light rises, and it will fall like a ravage. The sword rain was annihilated, and he flew away from the endless sword domain in a blink of an eye. After coming out, he paused, revealing a tall and straight figure and a tough and handsome face. Breathing a sigh of relief, he, Feng Su Yufeng, spent half a day arriving at a nearby city. It was also the first city he settled in after coming to this world of gods and earth. In this city, he got the answer to why he was here. At the same time, I also know why there is no power of law here. Just like in the past, Feng Qingyang was eating in a restaurant when he suddenly heard two monks whispering to each other. The sound was not loud, but he could still hear it clearly. In Jianglan Divine Kingdom in the south, two 8th-level monks have agreed to face off at Qingtian Peak near the Divine Kingdom in 3 months. Prison-suppressing knife, Hong Dongchuan? After he came here, he had heard about Hong Dongchuan and knew that he was a well-known strong man from Jianglan Divine Kingdom. He was good at swordsmanship and had amazing strength. He was a person who had reached the 8th level of Taoism. Reverse Divine Sword, Duan Lingtian? When he heard the name of Hong Dongquan's opponent, he was stunned again. Then, his face was filled with joy. Xiao Tian, even if just the name Duan Lingtian is associated with the cultivation realm of the 8th level, he will immediately think of his disciple Duan Lingtian, let alone Duan Lingtian in other people's mouth, and in Excalibur this a name. Isn't the name of the Nishan sword taken from the Nishan realm? I didn't expect to hear about him so soon. Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Feng Qingyang stood up and prepared to say hello to the other 2 aboriginal friends from the Divine Land world whom he met in the city, and then left here to go to the Jianglan Divine Kingdom in the south to reunite with his disciple Duan Lingtian. After the battle between Xiao Tian and Hong Dongchuan is over, we can make an appointment with him to go deep into the Endless Sword realm. There are some places that I dare not enter easily by myself. With him, we can explore more deeply. Feng Qingyang secretly said. The 2 people Feng Qingyang recognized in this city were both sword cultivators, but they were both sword cultivators who had only entered the 6th level of the Tao. There was a gap between him and him who had entered the 7th level before today, let alone those who had just broken through and been promoted to the Tao today. 8 floors his. This world of gods and earth is too wonderful. Once one reaches the 8th level of swordsmanship, one's cultivation will naturally follow suit, and he will break through to the 8th level of the Tao. Unlike the world where his disciple Duan Lingtian was in the past, after entering the 8th level of swordsmanship, you still need to accumulate to a certain level before you can go one step further and step into the 8th level of the most powerful. You too, I have something to do, and I have to leave here temporarily. We will meet again when we have the opportunity in the future. Feng Qingyang said hello to his 2 friends, but did not tell them what he was going to do. Even if they were friends, he did not feel that he could completely trust them. Even the fact that he most likely came from the new world opened up by the creation chart has never been mentioned to anyone. The wind blew gently out of the city and headed south. Soon, he entered the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. After entering Jiangzhou and arriving at the capital of the Kingdom of God, he was not in a hurry to inquire about the whereabouts of his disciple Duan Lingtian. Instead, he found an inn and stayed there, preparing to wait for his disciple Duan Lingtian to finish fighting Hong Dongchuan before meeting him again. Gather. Take your time. I don't know if Qingzhou is in Jianglan Divine Kingdom or even in the surrounding areas. If you are here, I will come here when I hear the news that Xiao Tian is going to fight someone. When the Nirvana heaven was shattered, he and his Taoist companion, Xue Qingzhou, were so shocked by the changes before them that they temporarily ignored it. They fell in love with each other, and finally separated and wandered to the world of gods and earth. They did not appear in the same place, and they have not found each other yet. Chapter 46-62. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. Before and after Feng Qingyang came to the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, many gods and powerful people who had survived from the Nishi realm came here, but they did not worry too much and went directly to Duan Lingtian. Coming to this world that is completely unfamiliar to them, they have no sense of security at all. Even the most powerful people here are masters of Taoism, but ordinary Taoism is really nothing within the scope of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. In Jianglan Divine Kingdom, one must at least reach the 4th level of entry to be considered a strong person. Only those who have entered the 6th level or above can dominate some states. For these visitors, Duan Lingtian also told them about his arrangements at Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City, telling them that they could go there. As for the capital, he had not made arrangements yet. After hearing this, a group of gods began to leave the capital together, preparing to leave Jiangzhou and go to Chuzhou. There are also people who have entered the 7th level of the Dao and are sheltered there, and they are also fellow villagers. They all want to go there early and seek shelter. In their opinion, this way they can better survive in this new world. Lord Duan Lingtian, do we have a chance to go back? Some people also asked Duan Lingtian this way, but Duan Lingtian didn't give them hope. He shook his head and said bluntly, there is a high probability that he will not be able to go back. The fact is that if you can get the creation chart, you might not be able to go back. Of course, that's all for the future. At least, he is still some distance away from where he is now. He asked Hong Dongchuan about the new owner of the creation life chart, Yu Luaha, and learned that Yu Luaha himself was a powerful Hudao man. He reorganized the creation life chart in order to unite the world. 2 roads, once they are combined successfully, his strength will be further enhanced. Not to mention dominating the world of gods and earth, at least he has no more enemies to defeat. Hudao is extremely difficult. It is difficult to achieve one kind of Tao, let alone a second Tao, because only the unique Tao can be combined. The Tao of forbidden life sacrifices can only be practiced by the owner of the creation chart, so only the owner of the creation chart can follow this way. According to Hong Mansion's most powerful man, the prison-suppressing sword Hong Dongchuan, in the entire divine land world, there are only 2 people who have successfully combined the 2 ways. As for whether there are people who have combined the 2 ways secretly, no one knows. But even if there is, there are only 1 or 2 people standing in the sky. Once the owner of the creation chart successfully joins the path of life sacrifice, no one in the world of gods and earth will be able to check and balance him and prevent him from continuing on the path of life sacrifice. In the world of gods and earth, there is another reason why it is difficult to merge with the Tao. That is, monks in the world of gods and earth also have a lifespan limit. They cannot live forever. They can only live forever. Only in the new world opened up by the creation life chart can the rules of eternal life be created through the power of laws, but only the new lives born in it can enjoy those rules. In the divine land world, there is no natural disaster, but there is a lifespan limit. Duan Lingtian asked Hong Dongchuan if people who came out of the creation world and entered the world of gods and earth had already reached the end of their lifespan, would anything bad happen to them? Hong Dongchuan bluntly said that such people would not survive more than 3 days in the world of gods and earth. Because they have left the eternal rules of the creation chart world, they will no longer be protected by the eternal rules. At that time, Duan Lingtian also realized, in all realms, and even in places outside the realm, it is estimated that there will be many extremely powerful people and ordinary cultivators who will die because their lifespan has reached the end after coming to the world of the gods. Of course, Duan Lingtian, his family and friends don't need to think about this issue now, because they are still very young now. Even if you don't become a Taoist, there is no problem in living for tens of thousands of years. After entering the Tao, even if you only enter the first level of the Tao, you can live for more than 100,000 years. A group of deities left and headed to Duanfu in Chuzhou City, but the remaining strongest men were not in a hurry to leave. They were all waiting for the shocking showdown between Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan, a strong man from the Jianglan Divine Kingdom, not long after. They all watched the battle with their own eyes, and maybe they could see from it, out some doorway, understand something. As for those gods, the reason why they did not stay was because they knew that with their own strength, even if they arrived at the scene, they would not be able to clearly see the movements of Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan. Instead of wasting time here, it would be better to go to Chuzhou and settle down as soon as possible to practice in seclusion and improve your strength. Coming to the world of the gods, although there is no calamity to deal with once in 1,000 years, there is a lifespan limit. They don't want to die of old age, so there is only one way, which is to continue to become stronger, have a longer lifespan, and live well. Go. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, there were only 3 days left before the duel between Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan. At this time, the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom became completely lively. because basically everyone who is supposed to come has arrived. At least 99% of those who wanted to watch the battle between Duan Lingtian and Duan Lingtian 3 days later came to the capital, and the rest were basically people from nearby areas who planned to rush directly to Qingtian Peak to watch the battle that day. Lord Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian received an uninvited guest, which surprised him. Are you here too? The person who came was none other than layman Tingyun from Shuiyun sect in Chuzhou. My lord, I will naturally be there to observe your battle with Senior Hong Dongchuan. My swordsmanship is just about to reach the threshold. I have an intuition that your battle with Senior Hong Dongchuan may help me cross the threshold. Just enter the 7th floor. When layman Tingyun talked about it, he looked excited and looked like he believed in his intuition. Then I'll congratulate you in advance. Duan Lingtian smiled. He still has a good impression of the layman Tingyun. Although he helped the other party a lot, the other party also saved him a lot of worry. It is said that his situation in Chuzhou City was basically controlled by layman Tingyun in the early stage, until he later took refuge in him. There are more and more fellows, and then Master Tingyun was able to get out. Master Tingyun did not stay long. He said hello to Duan Lingtian and then left, letting Duan Lingtian prepare for the battle 3 days later. Sir, I have confidence in you. My intuition tells me that you will win this battle. These were the last words Master Tingyun said before leaving, and Duan Lingtian couldn't help but shake his head and smile. This guy's intuition is quite accurate. After Master Tingyun left, he continued to meditate in the courtyard of the mansion, sitting by the pool, and continued to study the way of swordsmanship. I don't know when the way of swordsmanship can take a step further and step into the 9th level. Although the memory of old man Wukong that I inherited has the 9th level of swordsmanship, it is not easy to completely integrate it with mine. During the retreat, 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. The day of decisive battle has arrived. Chapter 46-63. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. A group of people gathered early in the morning around Qingtian Peak near Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and as time went by, there were more and more people. It's the old master of Feihe sect in Hangzhou, Old Man Songhe. As several people came from afar, the old man at the head attracted the attention of many people, and these people recognized him. The old man is wearing a loose robe with pine and crane embroidered on it. His face is old, but his eyes are shining. He looks very energetic, and his temperament and appearance form a contradictory combination. Even people who don't know him are confused. You will be attracted to him involuntarily. He is the most powerful man in Hangzhou, Old Man Songhe, who has entered the 7th level of the Tao. One person exclaimed. This was the first time he saw Old Man Songhe, but it did not affect that he had heard of him before, because Old Man Songhe has been famous in Jianglan Divine Kingdom for a long time. He once attained the 5th level of Taoism and was defeated by 3 monks from the same realm. The whole body retreated from below. That battle was also the battle where Old Man Songhe became famous. Later, whether Old Songhe was promoted to the 6th or 7th level, it attracted a lot of attention. After he was promoted to the 7th level of Taoism, he even defeated another 7th level monk from Hangzhou in a competition. The opponent was also the number 1 person in Hangzhou in the past. After that, Old Man Songhe also became a veritable master of Hangzhou. The strongest one after Old Man Songhe, there were also new 7th level monks in Hangzhou who challenged him, but were defeated by him and defended their glory. In Jianglan God's country, the most powerful people in many states are those who have entered the 7th level or above. Only the more remote states, such as Chuzhou, do not have 7th level monks. But when Duan Lingtian and Zhaoani came to Jianglan after the Kingdom of God, but it raised the strength level of the strongest players in the 2 states. I heard that Old Man Song's second way has already reached the 6th level. That's why he has such strength. I don't know if it's true or not. In my opinion, it's true. Otherwise, why would he be recognized as the first echelon of the 7th level Tao in Jianglan God's country? While many people were whispering, some monks who knew Old Man Songhe came up to say hello to Old Man Songhe, but they basically greeted him in a humble manner because they were not as powerful as Old Man Songhe. After Old Man Songhe finished dealing with the people who came to say hello, he sat cross-legged in the void and began to close his eyes and meditate. At this time, if any new people approach, Even those who know old Songha, they will not be able to disturb him. Another old man is here. Soon, when more than a dozen figures came from the sky in the distance, someone recognized the leader. He was also an old man, with white hair and a childish face, and an extraordinary temperament. Elder? Some people are confused. That's our new strong man in Yunzhou, old man Qingyun. What? Haven't you heard of it? A monk from Yunzhou asked doubtfully. Is he old man Qingyun, the new strongest person in Yunzhou? I heard that he is very strong. He not only defeated the original strongest person in Yunzhou, but also a 6th-level Taoist who came from Qianzhou near Yunzhou. The strongest man in Qianzhou, a 7th-level monk, also went to Yunzhou to discuss with him, but was defeated by killed his men. He just rose up not long ago. I haven't really seen him, but I have heard about him. Old man Qingyun is none other than Zhao Ani, who comes from the same place as Duan Lingtian. He is the ancestor of the Qingyun holy sect in the land outside the world in the past. He is a powerful 7th-level existence. He became good friends with Duan Lingtian and was promoted to the strongest 7th level. Try to find after meeting Duan Lingtian several times. During the discussion with Duan Lingtian, his strength has obviously improved a lot. Before the destruction of the Outer Land, although the Outer Land had given birth to many powerful 7th-level warriors, his strength was still at the forefront, second only to Xue Qingzhu and Bibo Tianfu from the 13th city of the Western Jin dynasty, Meng Han, and several others. Now, the dozen or so people behind Qingyun old man Zhao Ani are all saints from the past outside the world. After confirming his identity, they went to Qingyun Mansion in Yunzhou to seek refuge with him. This time, when they learned that the celebrity Duan Lingtian from their original world was going to compete with an 8th-level master from the Jianglan Divine Kingdom, they were also very interested and came with Zhao Ani to join in the fun. It was precisely because of their existence that Zhao Ani couldn't get rid of them and went to Duan Lingtian to reminisce about the past. I thought that after this duel was over, I would get together with Duan Lingtian. Master of the Palace, do you think Lord Duan Lingtian can win? A person behind Zhao Ani asked Zhao Ani. Hearing this, Zhao Ani said calmly, whether he can win or not, we just have to wait and see. In my personal estimation, he will definitely win. Zhao Ani's voice was not loud, but it was not small either. The strength of everyone present was not weak. Basically, they are all powerful people who have entered the Tao. When they heard Zhao Ani's words, many people felt that he was a bit arrogant. This old man Qingyun, he is so optimistic about Duan Lingtian. Does he not know how powerful Senior Hongdongchuan is? I heard that he and Duan Lingtian are fellow villagers, and they are suspected of coming from the world behind the creation life chart. Based on his understanding of Duan Lingtian, it is normal for him to have confidence in Duan Lingtian. The world after the creation life chart? Not long ago, the world behind the creation life chart Pan Xinzhu was seriously injured and escaped, and the lives that escaped from the world of creation Ming Pan? I heard that at that time, several powerful Hadao men joined forces and did not leave Yu Luaha behind, and let Yu Luaha take away the badly injured Chuangshi life ban. After learning that Zhao Ani and Duan Lingtian were suspected to be from the creation world, many people looked at Zhao Ani curiously. There were also some people who didn't know much about the creation chart and asked curiously. After learning the ins and outs of the matter, they couldn't help but be surprised. No wonder Chuzhou and Jiangzhou in the Jianglan Divine Kingdom have had an incident recently. Located above the 7th floor of the entrance road, the strong man on the top turns out to be a person from the world of creation and birth chart. I heard that in the world of the creation chart, there are rules set by the owner of the creation chart. The life born in it can even live forever in the world inside. Eternal life? Real or fake? In the world of gods and earth, even those who are strong in harmony cannot live forever. At this time, even old man Songha couldn't help but open his eyes and walk towards Zhao Ani Luo Song. I have met fellow Taoist Zhao. Fellow Taoist Luo. Zhao Ani has been here for a while and heard many people mentioning the old man Songha. He knew that the other party was quite powerful and was a leader among the 7th-level Taoists in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, so he did not dare to neglect and responded with a smile. Fellow Taoist Zhao, do you really come from the world in the creation chart? Songha old man Luo Song was obviously also quite curious about this. Faced with Luo Song's inquiry, Zhaoani was about to speak, but by chance, at this moment, he saw someone out of the corner of his eye, and he couldn't help but look excited for a moment. It's him. He is here too. Chapter 46-64. Update the latest chapters as soon as possible. When Zhaoani looked over, Feng Qingyang, who had just arrived at the scene, also saw him. After nodding and smiling at him, he also approached Yukong. Recently, when I was in the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, I often heard the name of the old man Zhaoani from Qingyun and Yunzhou. I guessed it was you at that time. I didn't expect to meet so soon. Feng Qingyang came not far from Zhaoani and said with a smile, Senior Feng, I didn't expect to meet you here. Zhaoani also said with a smile, but with a bit of respect in his tone, because he and Duan Lingtian are equals, and Feng Qingyang is Duan Lingxian's master, and he has always been called the other person senior. Even if the other person was in the countergod world in the past, he was told many times that he didn't need to be called that. This is the number one person in Hangzhou, Old Man Songha, fellow Taoist Luosong. Zhaoani did not ignore Luosong for too long, and introduced him to Feng Qingyang at the right time. He had heard about Luosong. If Luosong really mastered the second path and reached the 6th level as the rumors said, then he would definitely not be his opponent. Maybe even the senior Feng in front of him would not be his opponent. I have been in the capital for a while and have heard of Taoist brother Luosong. Feng Qingyang nodded to Luosong and smiled friendly. Zhaoani then introduced Feng Qingyang to Luosong, fellow Taoist Luosong. This is the master of Duan Lingtian, one of the two protagonists today. Feng Qingyang. Because Duan Lingtian and I are the same generation, I call him senior. You can just discuss friendship with him as an equal. After hearing Zhao Inyas' introduction to Feng Qingyang, Luosong was shocked. This was Duan Lingxian's master? Luosong, I have met fellow Taoist Feng. He can still look down on Zhaoani, but he dare not look down on Feng Qingyang. After all, he is Duan Lingxian's master. Duan Lingtian is a powerful person who has entered the 8th level of Taoism. Fellow Taoist Luosong, didn't you just ask me if I came from the creation life plan world? I, Duan Lingtian, and Senior Feng are all from the creation life plan world. Duan Lingtian and Senior Feng, even more so ours the world's top powerhouse. Zhaoani said with a smile. Luosong was startled, looked at Feng Qingyang, and asked tentatively, Fellow Taoist Feng, you must not have just entered the 7th level of Taoism, right? Zhaoani just wanted to say that although Feng Qingyang is also on the 7th level, his strength is far superior to that of ordinary 7th level people. At least he is not Feng Qingyang's opponent. However, Feng Qingyang was the first to speak. I didn't break through earlier than my disciple. I was lucky enough to break through to the 8th level recently. One sentence shocked Zhaoani and the people behind him. Senior Feng, you made a breakthrough? Zhaoani said in surprise, and a group of the strongest, half-saints, and saints from the outside world behind him also congratulated Feng Qing, although it was basically their first time. Seeing the wind blowing gently, it does not affect them to the wind. Qing Yang spreads kindness. Duan Lingtian smiled and nodded in response. Another one enters the 8th level. As Feng Qingyang spoke, Luosong was shocked. Although the second Tao he had comprehended had reached the 6th level, he was still far from his opponent in the face of the being who had comprehended the 8th level. Any one of the 10,000 ways, the further you understand it, the more outrageous the gap becomes. Others present were also shocked when they found out that Feng Qingyang was Duan Lingxian's master and a powerful person at the 8th level. Hello, fellow Taoist Feng, I am. The wind is friendly. A group of people gathered around and took the initiative to say hello to Feng Qingyang. They were all very enthusiastic. For a time, Feng Qingyang seemed to be the absolute protagonist before the arrival of Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan, and was very popular. It wasn't until one of today's two protagonists, Hong Dongchuan, appeared that everyone's attention shifted. Most people knew Hong Dongchuan and came forward to say hello. Sir Hong Dongchuan, are you sure of the battle today? Nothing. What people didn't expect was that as soon as Hong Dongchuan opened his mouth, he bluntly said that he was not sure, which shocked everyone present. They never expected that Hong Dongchuan would be timid before fighting, or that he would think he was inferior to his opponent before fighting. Lord Hong Dongchuan, Are you kidding me? If you were not sure, how could you make an appointment with him to fight at Qingtian Peak? Faced with this inquiry, Hong Dongchuan said calmly, although I am not sure, I still want to have a discussion with him and see his methods. As Hong Dongchuan finished speaking, Feng Qingyang and Zhaoani saw Duan Lingtian coming from a distance. Next to Duan Lingtian, there were two young women wearing veils and an old man. The two women were his wives Kier and Huaner. As for the old man, he is layman Teng Yun from Shuiyun sect in Chuzhou. Master. As soon as Duan Lingtian came over, he saw his master, and his face suddenly showed surprise. The same was true for Kier and Huaner beside him. They didn't expect to be so unexpected and encounter such a surprise here. Master? Layman Teng Yun on the side heard Duan Lingtian looking at a young man in the distance in surprise and calling him master, and his attention was immediately attracted. Because, when he was still in Duan Mansion in Chuzhou, he heard many people who came to Duan Lingtian mention some things in the world of creation and birth chart. He knew that Lord Duan Lingtian had a master who was not much weaker than him. He was already on the 7th level of Taoism when he and Master Duan Lingtian were separated. Ha ha! Shout Hian. Feng Qingyang smiled and ran towards Duan Lingtian in both directions. In fact, it really depends on the time. The two of them haven't been separated for long, but when they meet again, they are in another world, which makes the two of them feel like they are separated from each other, as if they had been separated for thousands of years for a long time. Master. Kier and Huaner also smiled and said hello. Seeing the two girls, Feng Qingyang gave a bitter smile. Xiaotian, you were very careful and didn't let my two disciples and my wife get separated. It was me. Your wife was actually not far away from me at the time, but because I was too concerned about the external situation, so much so that I and she was dispersed by the turbulent space of destruction. Ahem. Duan Lingtian coughed and directly stabbed his master's heart on a spiritual level. Master, in fact, your other two disciples and wives have not separated from me, but they are still staying in Chuzhou. There. In addition, my parents didn't get separated from me either. Hearing this, Feng Qingyang was silent for a moment, then glared at Duan Lingtian angrily. You kid, are you trying to make me angry? Haha. Duan Lingtian laughed, and then said, Master, after you finish watching the showdown between me and Senior Hong Dongchuan, go to Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City. Master's second sister is also there now. Who knew? When she heard this, Feng Qingyang's pupils shrank, and then she waved her hands repeatedly. I won't go there if she's here. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.